Hello, it's midday. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News live from our studio at number 11, Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. The news is also live on our partner stations across the country. The news is also live across the globe on citynewsroom.com, City 97.3 FM on Facebook, and CityTube on YouTube. My name is Inusafo, and this afternoon I'm here with
Charles Owuzukumi.
Coming up, family and friends of police officer who was shot and killed by an armed gang at Ablekuma Fan Milk gather to mourn the deceased. Meanwhile, the police have launched a manhunt for the armed gang who shot the police officer during an attack on the bullion van. Also coming up, residents of Noyem in the Brim North districts of the Eastern region resist the operations of a large-scale mining company, Akroma Gold Limited, which they say will threaten their livelihoods. Still ahead in the bulletin, members of Pensioner Bondholders Forum picket on day 2 to demand payment of 6 outstanding coupons. And later, government calls independent power producers to a meeting following their threats to cut power supply over arrears owed them. All that and more on the Citi Prime News, which is live on our partner stations across the country. In the Western region, we're live on Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM in Takoradi. In the Bunu region, we're live on Greener FM and 95.9 in Sunyai. In the Ashanti region, we're live on Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi, Orange 107.9 FM, also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're live on Revival 99.3 FM in Tajeu, VOV Radio 95.7 in Hohoi. In the Northern region, we're live on Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM. In the Upper East, we're live on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. In the Upper West, we're live on Tunsong 97.3 FM in Wa and Jirapa 96.1 FM, also in the Upper West.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for joining us. Now, family and friends of the police officer who was shot and killed by an armed gang at Ablekuma Fan Milk, they have gathered at the family house to mourn the deceased. Before we go over the phone lines to speak to my colleague who is presently at the family house, let's hear an interaction from the house.
Nanapai yakoda ya diachi ya baya na yasambe hweseni ya mhoti nti ya baya asemkro na ya bemso
Sia senior commander ekano enimi yesi aninti na bae tiro da atuma ni no apapa penti ne
ya tamase enra mobile na ya tezo se ne mo se mo baba nti suafo ni bi ba na mo kosa abefo ba na mo kosa nti moni ma na ye hwe na mo dia baba to ya hade se ni mo jaaye enra no saa na ti boni bi ya si ha bi
ne e mamoni e chi
enra team ya ba no na ye ya yin na yetinye IGP 102 commissioners ni na ni eba hanno enne bebia abofra no ye adwuma no ye wagu ya sen ye no ene ye adwuma e wo bi owo.
The translation of what just transpired was that I think the police went to the house to greet the family, and they say that yesterday they did not hear good news with regards to the police officer who was shot, and that the IGP had delegated them to come and commiserate with the family. My colleague Akosia Awatri is currently at the family house and joins us over the phone lines with more. Akosia, it must be a sad day at the house. Describe what's happening there for us.
No, a very solemn one, I must say. Yesterday, we all didn't hear good news at about 1 p.m. Late into the night, following the incident of the shooting of a police officer who was on official duties at Ablekuma Fan Milk. Basically, escorting a bullion van who were supposed to run on official duties. Were robbed by some unknown individuals, and the sad news broke. That's when the state was thrown into a state of shock and mourning. And this afternoon, we came here at Abofu, specifically just around the Presby School, the Abofu Presby School. That's where the official residence of this police officer is located. The police officer has been identified as Calista Amoa. Yes, we do not know how old he is, but that's the name that we have been given from the family. Now, Calista Amoa has a wife, Amanda, and a 1-year-old baby. And so today when we came in here, friends have been trooping in and out, just coming in to commiserate with the family and to throw their support behind the family, making them know that whatever support that they have to give to them, they will give to them until the police officer is finally buried. We were here when a delegation from the Ghana Police Service also arrived, numbering about 11. And we are told that these are police officers drawn from the national headquarters and also the division here where he works, the late Calista Samoa worked. And so these officers had an interaction with the police, like we heard earlier from the audio. They were essentially coming here to commiserate. So now, yesterday, we understand that the Ghana Police Service, led by the IGP, came here to commiserate with the family. But unfortunately, some of the senior officials were not here with the IGP and the few others who came to commiserate. And so that's why the other delegation have been assigned to come here to show their support behind the family. And so that's what is actually going on right now. And from the audio, they did say that they would support the family. And if there should be any form of compensation, it would come from the headquarters. That's the national level. And so for now, they are more concerned about getting hold of the perpetrators and making sure that the police officer is given a befitting burial before any sort of compensation will come in.
Akosia, I don't know if you've been privy to, has the family asked the police anything with regards to when the burial may take place or the autopsy? Have they asked anything of them?
Well, they haven't until I picked up the phone for the interview. I didn't hear any form of questioning that's got to do with autopsy being done on the body of the late victim. But they have been basically talking about how the news got to the family and the police and how they are going to ensure that preparations will begin in earnest for the police officer. But that of investigations into how he died or how the incident happened, it hasn't come up yet.
Akosia, many thanks for that update. Akosia Ochre is my colleague here in the City newsroom, and she has been telling us that the police are at the family house of the slain officer who was shot at Ablekuma Fan Milk, a suburb of the capital here in Accra, to commiserate with the family. Charles has some more stories.
Now, caterers under the school feeding program have resumed work after they called off their nationwide strike following agreements reached with governments. For months, the caterers withdrew their services in demand for payment of arrears and an increase of the cooking grant per child from 97 pesos to 3 cedis. Speaking to City News, the secretary for the School Feeding Caterers Association, Dorothy Frimpong Oforisapong, said they will fully resume work when school reopens.
Now, members of Pensioner Bondholders Forum say they will continue to picket at the Finance Ministry until all coupon payments are paid. The group resumed picketing yesterday following an accumulation of 6 outstanding coupons. This followed a 2-week suspension of the protest where government was allowed to settle 4 principals and coupons. On day 2 of the protest, the group defied rainy weather to drum home their demands. Dr. Duana Niantri is convener for the Pensioner Bondholders Forum.
Every coupon that we have received, apart from the first two, which we wrote here, we came here without picketing, and the government assured us that it was going to pay on the 13th February. 13th February, it didn't pay. We issued a press release on the 14th. Then the 14th, government came out to say it was going to pay the 6th February and the 13th February. Then the second one, government said, I'll come back and tell you when I'm going to pay the rest. In due course, we waited, we wrote letters, and then government came and said it was going to pay that of 20th February. Apart from this payment, all other payments that we have received after we have come here to picket.
So it's having the...
It is. If the first time that we picketed, we came here on the 8th May. 8th May, that we resumed the picket. That was the first time we picketed for payment.
Yes, so that was after the 3 months.
Yes, we got 22 coupons outstanding cleared. 22 coupons outstanding. It has been outstanding from 1st March to 8th May. That was the time the government said it was going to clear all. We said it should clear all up to 12th May, but they cleared up to 8th May. 22 coupons. In fact, we saw some signs of payment when we announced the week that we say we have informed the police and we are resuming the picketing. 22, we got it. The second time that the delays came, we wrote letters, pay the rest, and government was not paying. And we came the second time on the 1st of June. We got 5 coupons paid and 4 principals. 5 coupons paid with 4 principals. This one, we know we are going to get our 6 coupons outstanding now, plus a coupon that will be outstanding on Monday. We are going to get this 7 paid before we can end this picketing.
Dr. Duana Niantri is convener for the Pensioner Bondholders. Charles Osukumi has been our man on that beat. Charles, tell us, what next for the pensioners? Do they intend to continue picketing next week?
Well, I know what's next is to picket again and again and again until all these outstanding coupons are paid. Well, they have resolved to continue with the protest. You heard in the audio, 7 coupons will be outstanding by Monday. Government will have until Wednesday to settle all these coupons. Otherwise, they'll be back again on Thursday and Friday. The protests have now been scheduled to go on to happen only on Thursdays and Fridays because, these are pensioners. Most of them are in the twilight of their years. They can't be continuing doing this on a daily basis. And so they say that the coupons do mature on Monday. So they give government up until Wednesday to settle the coupons. If that does not happen, then they are back on Thursdays and Fridays. So I asked Duana Niantri, if this is not physically daunting, they've been doing this since February, and he says that yes, it is. It's taking a toll on his personal health, but he believes that the protest is a strategy that has worked for them. And if they didn't begin this protest in the first place, he doesn't believe that all the coupons that were paid would have been paid, and some of the principals that have also been paid would have. On May 8th, they resumed picketing after a 3-month break. This was after government assured them that they were going to pay the coupons and principals when they are due. So for 3 months, there was no picketing. But for a long time, government wasn't honoring its promise. So they had to resume the picketing. And when they came back on the 8th of May, they were able to get government to pay 22 coupons that were outstanding. So this strategy is working for them. And even though it is physically daunting, they believe that because it has worked, they will continue to do it until government is consistent with the payment of the coupons, because they believe that government is in the marketplace. Government is in the financial market as an issuer, and when you issue bonds, when coupons are due, it's an obligation for the government to pay these coupons. So they believe that their only option now is the picketing, and that's why they continue to do it.
Are their numbers still encouraging?
Well, when this whole protest began, on a daily basis, they could get about between 30 to 40, sometimes even 50. The numbers have dwindled quite a bit. Today they were about 20, partly because of the rains. But I'm told that some of them have received their principals. Some have also received their coupons. But of course, even though they are supposed to be there in solidarity with those whose coupons have not been paid, some just don't show up. Others have grown weary. Others are
And
sick.
they are pensioners.
Yes,
so,
and
yes.
I mean they can't be doing this forever. But Adriana, he is resolute.
Relentless.
Yesterday, during my interaction with him, you could see that this whole thing is having a physical toll on him. And he was quite honest today about it, that he hasn't had any rest since he began this protest in February. And he's hoping that they can come to some sort of agreement with government where the moment the coupons mature, between the 2-3 days, it is paid. So they don't have to be consistently having to come there with their chairs. And today they had umbrellas, singing the national anthem and all that. They don't want to continue doing it. And so they're hoping that government would go to the treasury bill market. As and when these coupons mature, you go to the treasury bill market, you borrow money, you use it to offset your debt to the pensioners. So this doesn't have to go on.
But did anybody from the finance ministry, or have they heard anything from the finance ministry?
No, so they resumed their picketing yesterday after a 2-week break, where government asked that they needed some time to pay off their principals. Government has done that, pay the principals. But this new picketing is because of the outstanding coupons. So they began yesterday. They have not received any communication from the ministry. This has been one of the issues that's been bothering the pensioners since February, is that they rarely get the ministry to hear them on anything, or even they've written a letter to the finance ministry asking them for interest payments on the principals that delayed for about 3 months.
Right.
That was last week. They are yet to receive any response from the ministry. So that communication from the ministry hasn't been forthcoming since this process began, and that's been one of the issues that's been bothering them quite a lot. We're hoping that today, during the protest, someone from the ministry would come and say something to them. Nothing like that happened until they left. I cannot tell if they have received any communication from them from the time when the protest ended up until now.
All right, Charles, many thanks for that update. Charles Owusukumi is my colleague here in the City Newsroom, and he has been on the Pensioner Bondholders Forum beat since day one. Let's do some other stories now, or to an earlier story. Caterers under the school feeding program, they have resumed work after they called off their nationwide strike following agreements reached with government.
We resumed immediately. They paid our third-term payment. They made our third-term payment, but negotiation is still ongoing. Yeah, we asked for increment of the payment because 97% wasn't good. And then the minister proposed 120 pesos. She said that it's a proposed figure, so they are now going to present it and then tell them about our proposal is 350 pesos. And so we are waiting for her to come back and tell us what they've agreed to pay. Half of them, even if you give them timeline, they won't mind you. They will come back the day they want. So we are just waiting for them and see for some time. We don't hear from them, then we'll come back to us. Oh, I think that the few cases who cooked before we strike, they still cook, but majority of the creators are going to start cooking after reopening. I think school will reopen next week, Tuesday. So maybe from that day going, a lot of people will start cooking. No, I'll just advise them that they should be proactive to the caterers. And the minister should also come down to meet the caterers at the various regions or districts so that they can also tell them their issues for help to take into consideration.
That was the Secretary for the School Feeding Caterers Association, Dorothy Ofori Sapong. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live on 97.3 Citi FM. Still to come, residents of Noyem in the Brim North District of the Eastern Region resist the operations of a large-scale mining company, Akroma Gold Limited, which they say will threaten their livelihoods. We'll bring you the details shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Charles has some more stories.
Now, as part of measures to assess the preparedness of combating new plant viral diseases which threatens food security, the Crop Research Institute, CSRI of Council for Scientific and Industrial Research and West African Virus Epidemiology, has organized a simulation conference on the new cassava disease outbreak and its management. The maiden stakeholder simulation conference, which is spearheaded by the Central and West Africa Virus Epidemiology for Root and Tuber Crops Project commissioned by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and supported by the European Union through CORAF, is focused on ensuring food security through coordinated management. Addressing participants at the conference, a crop researcher and the country director of WAVE Project for Food Security for Root and Tuber Crops, Dr. Allen Opong, noted that emerging threats of crop diseases poses a major risk to food security in Africa.
It is imperative that as researchers, policymakers, farmers, and stakeholders, we become vigilant and monitor our environment closely for any new and emerging diseases that could negatively impact on our food security. The responsibility of disease monitoring and surveillance is a shared responsibility, even though a specialized authority has been given the national mandate to lead this effort. At this point, I'm referring to our brothers and sisters from PPRS. However, those of us in research, academia, NGO, and others we all have a role to play if we are not to be taken unawares by events. One disease that has been threatening for a long time is the cassava brown streak viral disease, which has affected cassava plantation in East and Central Africa. And available data suggests that it is moving eastward, westwards, that is, it is moving towards us. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves is, how far are we prepared should this important disease of cassava hit us as a country and the sub-region? It is in this direction that we have all gathered here this morning to discuss the following. One, assess the preparedness of combating any plant viral disease incidents in Ghana. And two, we want to determine the requirements for combating any new disease incidents in Ghana. Three, we also want to identify the role of the various stakeholders and the gaps in reporting a new disease incidents and their management.
You heard crop researcher and the country director of WAVE Project for Food Security for Roots and Tuber Crops, Dr. Allen Opon. Meanwhile, the director of the Crop Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Professor Moses Bradford Mokaya, challenged researchers, policymakers, farmers, and all stakeholders to work together and mount effective surveillance and monitoring to help combat emerging crop diseases.
Determine the requirements for combating any new disease, identify the role of all stakeholders and the gaps in reporting a new disease incidents and their management. You don't only have to report it. Once you report it, what are the management mechanisms? Because that is the most important. If you report it and you don't have any management mechanism, then it means that you haven't done anything. So do we have any management mechanisms that we can use in case we have any kind of disease outbreak? And then the mode of communication. How is the communication done? Who and who should communicate? And communicate to whom? We have to know all these things. If we are able to determine all these things, then the population, general population, will know that if I see any new stroke disease occurring in my environment or on my farm, then I know exactly what I have to do. So we have all being here. We are like the lights that's going. We are going to through to our population for them to see that everybody has a responsibility towards managing our food security systems, particularly reporting of any new disease outbreaks. And it is expected that after we have done all this brainstorming work, we will do the actual simulation on the field. From here, we will put a mechanism in place that will help us to do the actual simulation. Somebody can alert us that there's a disease, and then we follow the reporting mechanisms and see how the system works. And if we identify any gaps in there, then we will come back and then address all those challenges. Once we address them, then we are going to document it, make it in a publication, which will be distributed across the country and to all the stakeholders, so that from time to time we go by it, read it, and then we know all that we have to do.
You heard the director of the Crop Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Professor Moses Bradford Mukai.
Now, the management of a mining firm, Akroma Gold, in the eastern region is urging the government to tackle unemployment in mining communities. This follows threats from Noyem residents to resist the company's operations. The Deputy Director of Operations for Akroma Gold, Emmanuel Minta, tells City News the job scarcity jeopardizes mining companies' viability.
A very young girl, 14-year-old, raining time, had to use a shortcut to get to school. Unfortunately, illegal miners had come to do illegal activities there. They did not cover the pit. The girl fell in, died. As a company, they had to hold us responsible for such an action. So we don't want any of such issues to happen again. That is why we are being proactive, in doing things now.
It's not the first time we've heard of such incident. As a company, are you worried by the activities of illegal miners invading your concessions?
Everybody should be worried about it, because I can go and officially acquire a concession, paid for, and you get someone working on it, paying nothing to anybody. It's a worry. And the most dangerous part is if they do the illegal activity and they reclaim the land, I think everybody would have been able to appreciate a certain bit of, fairness or reasonability from their end. But they will just do it and run away. And, it becomes a responsibility of the company to go back to, reclamation, which is quite expensive. I think there has been several dialogues, and I think the government should be extra proactive and deepen steps in doing all this. It's not easy. You cannot just say one day, I will stop illegal mining. It's not possible. But what are the alternatives that you're going to put in place once you start illegal mining? What are the, there should be some talks on the. My biggest challenge is government most at times involve people who don't have anything or don't know anything about mining to dialogue on issues about mining. When it happens as such, if you hadn't even started those negotiations, it would have been better, because nothing will come out of it. The person you are sitting or you're having that conversation on a dialogue with about how to stop illegal mining has no knowledge about what even illegal mining is. So how do you expect me to contribute to something that I will come and just sit theoretically, tell you what the book is saying, but practically we need to involve the people down there and get to understand why they even do that. Most of them will tell you that they do that because there's no job, nothing, but hey, all in all, there's no job anywhere.
Emmanuel Minta is Deputy Director in charge of operations for Akroma Gold in the Eastern region. Now, Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister George Merikuduka has stated that the government will not rush to inaugurate the community mining scheme, despite growing demands from some communities for its implementation. He emphasized that the ministry would prioritize due diligence and extensive consultation before launching the scheme in any community across the country. Speaking at the launch of the scheme at Achimanso in the Amansia South municipality of the Ashanti region, George Mrekuduka says this cautious approach is necessary to regulate the initiative effectively and ensure its objectives are achieved.
I would say, even in my constituency, it's taking on board about 5,000. The community mine, one community mine that we have. With this, we are earmarking 2,000. If you talk of about not less than 15 community mining schemes that we've put together, and if each is averagely employing even 1,000, so that alone should tell you the quantum. If it's employing, let's say, 2,000, it should tell you the indirect benefit. So it's something that is really encouraging. You can pick this instinct from people gathered here. I mean, very refreshing. They are happy, and excited, and people are even yearning for more. That when we do that, then they can move from their illegalities to join the legal framework.
What of the other communities also pleading with government to get to them this community mining scheme?
Yeah, so when they do that, what we do is to sit with all the stakeholders and find out the possible ways of getting them the scheme launched. So we'll consult the stakeholders, the company that they are asking them to cede off part of their concession. We will contact them and talk to the chiefs and all the people involved, and we'll see how best we can judge and bring peace.
That was the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister, George Mrekuduka. Let's go to Parliament now, because the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has directed the Business Committee of the House to schedule a debate on the promotion of proper sexual human rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021 for either next week, Tuesday or Thursday. The bill was presented to Parliament on March 31, 2023 by the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. Its objective is to criminalize LGBTQ activities and provide protection for children and victims involved in such acts. During deliberations on the business statement presented by the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Oseiusu, announced this information to the House.
I think Mr. Speaker, to bring to the attention of the Business Committee two matters. One, the Standing Orders Committee's report should be programmed for Thursday. So please take note and have it programmed for Thursday. Two, the Proper Human Sexuality and Ghanaian Family Values Bill be programmed for Tuesday or Thursday. Whatever it is, it must be on the other paper next week. Other Tuesday, the motion for second reading of that bill should be programmed for Tuesday or Thursday. These are the directives of Mr. Speaker.
A number of civil society organizations and political workers, and as well as constitutional workers, have interest in it, and they'll be watching this house. You've given either Tuesday or Thursday. Tuesday, we know, will be the Asin by-election. And we know a number of MPs, maybe your good self, Mr. Speaker, may be there. And we need to do a very comprehensive debate, well-researched debate on it, sensing that and foreseeing that the numbers may not be able to be organized on Tuesday. Mr. Speaker, if we can be specific that that motion be taken on Thursday, which we know that our brothers who will go for the Edelada on Wednesday will be here, and those who will go for the Asino by-election on Tuesday will be here, so that the House will be properly constituted to take that historical debate. Mr. Speaker.
Wait, are you on a point of order?
My good friend is making a valid observation and a valid point, except that he should depart from the path of drawing the speaker into it. Why do you say that the speaker will be going to ascend up? Do you know that first, the reality? Stay clear from that and make your point. See, I shouldn't enroll you into his tactics.
Thank you. He was actually out of order, but I was ignoring him. Yes, now make your point about the appropriate date.
You heard excerpts of proceedings in Parliament. Nia Ikweokan is a parliamentary correspondent, and he joins us over the phone lines with more details. Ni, many thanks for joining us. A lot of Ghanaians have interest in this particular bill. There has been a lot of conversation surrounding it. So, what exactly is preventing the Business Committee from tabling it?
Right. So this afternoon, we heard from the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osei Owusu, is that the Speaker himself, Alban Bagden, has directed that next week, either next week, Tuesday or Thursday, the bill on the promotion of proper sexual human rights and Ghanaian family values be tabled, or the second reading of that bill be conducted. This is the case where, at that particular stage, a debate on the bill would be conducted. So it is expected that the Business Committee would program it for either next week Tuesday or Thursday. And if you would recall, just last week Friday, the lead advocate of the bill, the Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram, Samuel Nante George, actually raised concerns as to when the debate on the bill would be taken. And the first Deputy Speaker, who was chairing at the time, said that due to some legal actions that have been taken against the bill, he is not too sure as to when exactly the debate or the second reading would be taken, but he was going to liaise with the Speaker to ascertain when exactly it would be appropriate to have that debate on the bill. And today, as proceedings was ongoing, the first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei Owusu, announced that the Speaker, Alban Bagden, has directed that the bill or the debate on the bill be taken either next week, Tuesday or Thursday. So we are expecting that the Business Committee will decide on exactly which date, because per the business statement that was presented to the House by the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, we didn't have that scheduled on it. So the minority side, led by the first Minority Whip, Ahmed Ibrahim, raised concerns that Tuesday is the day for the not by election. So it will be appropriate that the committee schedules the debate for Thursday, which would afford most of the MPs the opportunity to partake in the debate, considering the fact that many Ghanaians are interested in this particular bill. So we are expecting that the Business Committee would make amendments to the business statement for the upcoming week to ensure that the promotion on proper sexual human rights and Ghanaian family values bill, the debate on it is taken.
All right, Ayikwe, what else has been happening on the floor of Parliament?
On Thursday, the Speaker of Parliament himself, Alban Bagden, directed that the Ministers for Works and Housing as well as Finance be summoned to appear before the House to provide updates on measures being taken by the government against flooding. With the onset of the rains, we've had some devastating impact of flooding in parts of Accra, and this was a concern that was raised by the Minority Chief Whip, Gavin Sagoja, yesterday on the floor of Parliament. Subsequent to that, the Speaker directed that these ministers appear before the House to, apprise legislators on measures that are being taken to avert or contain the situation. So the Business Committee, led by the Majority Chief Whip, Anodompre, has indicated that he is going to liaise with the chairman of the committee, that's Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, so that they could also schedule these ministers for next week Thursday for them to appear before the House and provide the updates on measures being taken by government to deal with flooding in precisely Accra and then other parts of the country.
All right, Ayikwe, let's listen to Frank Anodompre and stay on the line for us.
I will liaise with the leader of the government business, for us to reach out necessarily to ensure that we can have the two ministers in the House, preferably Thursday, because you and I know Friday, it's not often a convenient time. And we've dedicated Friday to the Minister of Rules to come and answer a lot of the backlog of questions. So we should be working towards Thursday. And prefer yourself, you are a member of the business committee. So we will be talking in whispers and do the needful to ensure we get the two ministers to come upon the House. But Speaker, if I may, we also made a point, which the Speaker agreed with us, that in accordance with our orders, Order 1922, which says that committees should not necessarily be giving referrals before they undertake what they are supposed to do. So if you may indulge me, no instruction shall be given to a committee to do that which is already empowered to do or to deal with. Speaker encouraged the Committee on Works and Housing to also visit these places and be armed with the reality on the ground, so that even whilst we wait for the two ministers to come and apprise us, we as a House would also have some good information on what the reality is on the ground. Therefore, it's also a matter that is important, and we expect the leadership, both the ranking and the chair, to heed to this counsel, this good counsel, and be seen to be working.
Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre there. Nia Yukwe Okana, parliamentary correspondent, is still on the phone. Ni, tell us, how are the numbers in the House, in Parliament today? Is it a full House?
Well, we don't have a full House today. Quite a number of the MPs are not in the chamber to partake in business activity for the day. And from what we have gathered, it's because of the Ascendant by-election, which is scheduled for Tuesday. So you have most of the MPs trooping to Ascendant to partake or to campaign ahead of the election. So we don't have a full House. MPs in the chamber are not even up to 80 as I speak to you. But activities are ongoing. The bell has been rung just to ensure that if MPs are in their offices, they would come to the chamber to partake in the business activity for the day. But as it stands now, most of them are not in the chamber.
Many thanks for that update. Ni Ayukwe Okain is our parliamentary correspondent here at Citi FM. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live on 97.3 Citi FM. Still to come, government calls independent power producers to a meeting following their threats to cut power supply over arrears owed them. We'll bring you the details shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
A mother is a priceless gift. A mother makes sure her children never go hungry and are well satisfied with the best of meals made with love. And like a mother, Hallmark Cafe sees to the well-being of her clients by providing them with an amazing variety of both local and continental dishes made with love, and making sure our clients leave with a beautiful smile on their faces. We're open from Monday to Sunday between the hours of 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. For walk-ins, dine-ins, and delivery, visit or call our Bilingwe branch on 0557 875 909 or 0302 790 426. And for delivery and takeaway only, call our La Paz branch on 0509 814 409. We also provide catering services for both corporate, private, and public gatherings. Hallmark Cafe. Delight in every sip and bite.
Out of over 10 million Ghanaians employed, only 1.9 million are actively contributing to SNIT. For most people, their retirement plan is either their children or savings. What if your child is unable to care for you? Long life depletes your savings, or you suffer permanent disability. Financial support from loved ones in your old age is a blessing, but you should not rely solely on them. Whether you're a fashion designer, an online entrepreneur, a lawyer, or a business owner, today, life is good, but tomorrow may be different. Register with SNIT and sign up for SEED for old age pension, invalidity pension, and survivor's lump sum benefit for your nominated dependents. Take control of your future. Ayo Udacho, for no pest now. Dial *711*9# to pay your contributions. Contact SNIT on 0302 611 622 or on socials at SNIT Ghana. SNIT, we deliver on our promise. T's and C's apply.
SSNIT. Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. The government and the independent power producers are set to have a meeting regarding the outstanding arrears owed the producers. This meeting comes in response to a letter from the IPPs to the government where they threatened to suspend power supply starting from July 1, 2023 if an interim payment of 30% of the debts is not made. The IPPs have expressed their inability to continue powering the national grid beyond June 30 if they do not receive payment. To prevent a potential shutdown that could disrupt the power supply to the national grid, a meeting with the Minister of Finance has been scheduled for next week. The objective of the meeting is to establish a payment plan that will address the issue and avoid any power supply interruptions. Chief Executive Officer of the Independent Power Producers, Distributors and Bulk Consumers, Elikplem Kwabla Apetogbo, has been lamenting the delay in the payment.
Not received any response officially from the earlier ones sent. Well, from the very onset, we indicated our difficulties, our frustrations. You remember we wrote earlier in March, around 27th of March, indicating our frustration doing business with ECG. Basically, we are not receiving payment for our services. And a second reminder or second follow-up went, we have, on the same subject, we've not received any feedback on that. And we are sending a final reminder that we are not able to stretch ourselves beyond June 30th. It's just simple, we are unable to continue operation. We are very much aware of the consequences, very much aware of the impact this will cause. But the fact is that we are just unable to continue our services. And the issue is that when we are, as Chris made to say, when we are managing any economy, any public economy, your essential services providers must always be your priority. They should be the last group of persons or the last group of institutions to be treated this way. The fact is we just lack the resource. Why should we take pride in shutting down the power plants? No, we know the consequences. So we are not just doing it for doing its sake.
That was Chief Executive Officer of the Independent Power Producers, Distributors and Bulk Consumers, Elikplem Kwabla Apetogbo.
Now, over the past few months, incidents of violence against Ghanaian referees are on the ascendancy, putting the beautiful game in jeopardy. The latest attack is on a female referee, Abdul Rahman Sakina Nasara, during a Women's Division 1B League match in Tamale. Citi Sports' Evans Ofochumanso has filed this report on the disturbing rise in abuse and physical attacks on referees.
Referees, the custodians of fair play and integrity on the football pitch, are facing threats to their safety and well-being. On Saturday, June 17, 2023, in a Women's Division 1B League match in Tamale at Game Center 3, female referee Abdul Rahman Sakina Nasara was viciously attacked by Tiyumba Ladies FC head coach Idrisu Suheiru Napari. The match was abruptly halted in the 38th minute due to the coach's invasion of the field and assaults on the referee. The Ghana Football Association swiftly condemned the attack, expressing deep concern. The GFA emphasized that referees play a crucial role in maintaining the integrity of the game and called for an immediate end of such behavior. The FA says it will work closely with law enforcement agencies to identify and bring the culprits to justice. Alex Corte is referee's manager at the GFA, and he wants an example made of Coach Napari.
We hardly hear of such, incidents in the women's game as compared to the men's game. And so for us, it came to us as a surprise because of some of these things. But then, so for me, I think that going forward, what we have asked the region to do is to pursue this matter, make sure that at least we set an example, we use this man as an example to others who would also even want to think of going or maybe performing such acts. And so we are on the ground and we are urging the Regional Football Association to ensure that this man is brought to book, at least if some jail sentences is passed. And for this one, we wish to plead that people should not intervene. I mean, they should let the processes and the law enforcement agencies work. I mean, that is the only thing, or that's the only way we can bring some sanity into our game. And so if such thing happens, and then you get people going to play the chiefs and all sort of people going to play on their behalf, then of course it will continue. But then if an example is set, if he's punished with jail over a certain period of months or years, I think that it will help, and then it will also bring some sanity into our game.
The assault on referee Sakina Nasara is not an isolated incident. A footballer, Joseph Ejay Oting, has been arrested by the Brekum Divisional Police Command for assaulting an assistant referee, Patrick Ejay Sapon, during a Regional Division 2 League match between Domfete Galaxy FC and Fentata Jenyame FC, played on May 24, 2023. Also in May this year, 14-year-old Catch Them Young referee Elijah Ada was assaulted by football administrator Mohamed Yaya during a juvenile district game between Bolga All-Stars Babies and Boyson FC in the Upper East region. These acts of violence not only endanger the safety of referees, but also undermines the spirit of fair competition that football stands for. City News has also been speaking to some key stakeholders in Ghana football on the recent attack on Ghanaian referees.
That is absolutely unacceptable. It's absolutely and totally unacceptable. You don't do that. You don't do that in football. You don't do that in life. And I believe the authorities will actually take up the appropriate measures, and I'm sure it's going to be dealt with according to the law. It's embarrassing. I'll say, and definitely the law would have to take its course. Fortunately, the laws of football and the laws of the land have got very clear provisions for such acts, and I'm sure they'll take the due course.
However isolated they are, they must be condemned. If you are not happy about a referee decision, that doesn't give you the right to attack. There are remedies that you need to seek for. We've all watched Maradona scoring a goal with a hand. It was accepted. The referee was accordingly punished. We have seen England scoring a goal in South Africa World Cup because there was no goal line technology. The goal was disallowed. They didn't go killing people because of that. So I'll be the first to condemn that and then urge the police and the GFA to take up the matter, get a culprit, and get him punished according to the rules. We must set the right precedents for others to copy, so that I will not accept the beating of a referee or any attack on a referee. I will not accept it, and I'll urge the GFA and the police to take action.
It's just sad, and I see no reason why, because of a referee's mistake, or you think that officiating didn't go your way, you have the guts to attack a referee, be it a female referee or a male referee, or be it a juvenile referee or a premiership referee. If you all want to develop the game of football in Ghana, then some of these things must be taken care of. And maybe the FA has not beaten enough in previous cases. It is high time that referees or people who attack referees are arrested and prosecuted. Once we do that, it will serve as a deterrent to others not to repeat same mistakes. It's just absurd. I read a story online and I was like, wow, how can a coach of a team attack a female referee? I think that guy must be arrested. I'm told he's been arrested. The laws of the country, Ghana, would have to deal with him drastically to serve as a deterrent to others.
It's important for the various stakeholders in football, be it players, coaches, administrators, fans, and referees, to embrace the values of sportsmanship, respect, and fair play in our game. Reporting for City News, I am Evans Ofochu Manso.
Away from that, the New Patriotic Party has refuted allegations of vote buying made by the National Democratic Congress in the Asin North constituency of the Central Region. The NDC accused NPP national executives, including National Chairman Stephen Ntim and General Secretary Justin Kuria Frimpong, of distributing items and money to voters ahead of the by-election scheduled for Tuesday, June 27. In response, NPP's national organizer Henry Nanabuache dismissed the claims and stated that the party's campaign is focused on highlighting the developmental work carried out in the constituency. He also revealed that Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is expected to commission projects in the constituency today.
We are not sharing any money. We have waged an effective campaign on the ground, and we are going to campaign on the numerous projects we have executed in the constituency. Vice President is coming here. He's going to commission the 32-kilometer road right from Praso to Asinfusu. You get to Praso, you get to Asempana, you get to Dansami, you get to Bresako. Beautiful road by our standard. From there, he's going to commission another astroturf. And then he's going to commission a 70-meter bridge, very important bridge that is cutting across from Asinfusu into Dungao area. Very important bridge. 2 days, the road is being tarred. So are you telling me that it would then 2 weeks, all these projects were executed within a space of 2 weeks? I mean, come on, including the assembly block. The president on Sunday is commissioning an ultra-modern assembly complex. And what is somebody telling me that you use 2 days to construct such a building? Their campaign is confused. If they don't have anything to say, they should not create chaos. I've said this, that we came to meet Asinoff in peace. We are going to win and leave Asinoff in peace.
Henry Nanabuache is the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party.
Now, the National Disaster Management Organization is cautioning individuals against maneuvering floodwaters to reach their destinations. This comment follows the drowning of 4 persons at Atafwa, Sepase, and Tafo in the Ashanti region. NADMO explains that one of the deceased drowned when he attempted to maneuver the floodwaters to his home. The Ashanti Regional Director of NADMO, Frank Dodu, urged the public not to risk their lives during a downpour.
Make sure that when the rains are coming, we know then the early warning signs that comes from the Meteo agency, we could follow up. There is no need for you to go to the place that you yourself, you've built up that is a flood-prone area. You find relatives, high areas, places like churches, then you lodge. When the rains come, then everything calms down. Then you could be able to go home, then put things in order. But if it turns out to be like what we witnessed yesterday, not that the place got flooded, like what we've been witnessing last year and 2 years, pulling people down, killing people in their home and all that, but you yourself decide to go through, I would say there is more that we can do.
Frank Dodu is the Ashanti Regional Director of the National Disaster Management Organization.
And that's it for the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka in Accra. My name is Enosafo, and I was here with
Charles Osukumi.
For more news, do log on to our website, citynewsroom.com.